Hello everyone! Welcome back to another 2v2 Warhammer battle. This is going to be Bretonia and the Vampire Counts versus Double Dwarves. For my army, it was going to be more cav focused, but then I kind of remembered how bad I am at micromanaging a lot of cav. So then I decided to do something different, and I got 8 peasant mobs, 4 foot squires, and I got the peasant mobs simply to try and hold a bunch of dwarven longbeards, which I assume we would be fighting, or some kind of front line of dwarves, to try and hold them at bay to allow my main force of the cav, which is going to be 2 knights errant, the Fey Enchantress, and then 4 questing knights to try and do some damage. Also, I do have a blessed field trebuchet that I deployed kind of far back so it wouldn't get shot at by dwarven cannons, which there actually aren't any in this map, which was a surprise. But I'm going to be slowly moving the blessed field trebuchet up and doing some damage. Vampire Count ally has a couple of zombies, a line of skeletal spearmen. Behind them we have Graveguard. They're being led by Heinrich Kimmler. You have a Mortis Engine and then more Graveguard behind the line of Graveguard. We got Graveguard on Graveguard over here. And that's going to be their army. For the dwarves, one of the armies is being led by a Rune Lord. They also have King Lund Ironhammer, Peak Gate Guard, and then a whole bunch of Longbeards. A couple great weapons and then other normal types. And we also have a couple Rangers. And I think this player brought 2 of these Slayers as well. Or maybe just the Dragonback Slayers. In any case, there's 3 Slayers up here. The other person brought a whole bunch of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, which I don't really ever see that much. I don't think they're that great, but, I mean, you know, if you want to use them, use them. We also have Ungrim Iron Fist, we have a Miner of Blasting Charges, 3 Thunderers, and then 2 Organ Guns up here. Oh, there's 4 Slayers. Sorry, there are 4 Slayers in their army. And so me and my allies stacked up over on this side. It is a very wide map, but seeing that there's a giant hill right here and we're facing off against 2 dwarves, come on. Like, where are they going to deploy? They're not going to deploy over here. They're going to deploy, of course they're going to deploy on top of the hill. So we deploy over here, the Vampire Count's going to follow me in, and we're going to march up. We're just going to go peasant bloops all the way up here. And again, the idea is to have a solid core of the foot squires, but then we're just going to hopefully wrap around with a bunch of peasant mobs on every side and try and hold units like Slayers, like anything that's melee, really. And just, yeah, hold them in place for a while, as long as the peasant mobs can, as the cav force, led by the Fey Enchantress, kind of just comes in behind and just crushes all their soft targets. That's the plan, anyway, with this build. But again, you know, I was going to have more knights. Originally, it was just 4 foot squires and then a bunch of knights. But then I was like, you know what? I suck with a bunch of knights. And, like, micromanaging 6 is going to be kind of hard for me, because I'm bad at it usually. So I decided, yeah, let's throw money into these peasant mobs, see if this idea works. It's going to help, I guess, a lot with a bunch of Vampire Counts behind me, too. But anyway, we're coming into this forest. We have some range of fire that you saw coming down over there. We have some thunder fire coming down. And then the organ guns are in a position. So I'm just going to do a wide flank with our cav force. And you can see that we're already going to be kind of flanking the dwarves. A lot of their dwarf great warriors going up the middle against our foot squires. But we're going to be supported by the Vampire Counts. And now my peasant mobs are just going to try and hold these dwarf warriors in place. Meanwhile, these units are going to go bloop, 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 secret bloops. Be quiet, they're hush bloops. All the way up here because no one sees them as they're going to break through to the organ guns. We're going to do a charge on these Thunderers because they're out of position with our questing knights right there. And then the rest of the knights are going to go back over here and we're going to help assist against the organ guns.
Yes, my lord!
And then all of the enemy Slayers are just going to be coming over here against my knights, I believe. But over here on the left flank, you can see my peasant mob is already broken, but they will come back. My foot squires are taking kind of a heavy beating because they're just heavily outnumbered by the dwarves, and plus the dwarves are backed up by, you know, the Rune Lord and then King Lund, who's terrorizing my foot squires, and the yeah, so my foot squires actually really get hit here. The Vampire Count player is kind of holding back a little bit, but they'll do a hard engagement soon. Meanwhile, back here we got the cav bloops coming in, crushing these Thunderers and the 2 organ guns, but we are dealing with some Slayers. Now you can just repeatedly charge Slayers and they will die. They don't really have charge protection. Only the Dragonback Slayers have defense versus large. Normal Slayers, you can just continue to charge. So I'm going to try and do that, but the problem is there's just going to be so many fucking Slayers coming in here that we're eventually going to have to disengage. But we have crushed these 2 Thunderers, we crushed this Thunderer, and the double organ guns already. So we've crushed most of the soft targets. We only have a couple Rangers left. Periodically, you'll see me put my peasant mobs back into action, but I am kind of, I'm a little bit busy at the moment, micromanaging all of our cav, trying to do repeating charges. Here come the Dragonback Slayers coming in, and then 2 more Slayer groups behind those. Meanwhile, the Vampire Count player is just kind of blobbed up right here in the center, and they're just going to be slowly fighting against these Dwarf Warriors. I'm trying to assign my Blessed Field Trebuchet to a dense concentration of Dwarf Warriors here and here, I believe is what they're firing at. But they're just going to be back here in safety. There's nothing that's going to be able to challenge them. More peasant mobs falling back here, but they're not meant to kill. They're just meant to hold. And now we're going to do rear charge with these quest knights there. And we're trying to disengage from these slayer groups up here. Including my Fey Enchantress, who is right there. We're going to be disengaging, coming down the hill and trying to hit these dwarf warriors in the back. As again, there's not much for the vampire count here. It's just going to be massive undead versus all the dwarves. For the most part. But yeah, so my forces up here on the hill, the foot squires and the peasant mob that made it are going to get crushed by all of these. That's a lot of dwarves for them to fight. And but we are crushing these dwarf warriors with great weapons. Now we're going to be moving on to the next target. I think it's around here. Yeah, it's around here that I start bringing back our routing units. So they're going to be coming back into the battle. Blessed Fury Trebuchet still firing down into the dwarves. I guess we're targeting this unit now. With the Blessed Bloops. Blessed Bloop, Blessed Bloop, Blessed Bloop. Just hitting the dwarves. So right here we're trying to disengage. And I am trying to move my Fey Enchantress, but I did not realize she was getting held in place by these miners. So I'm trying to actually free her up right now and move her again. And I think I'm also moving these peasant mobs one more time to give them attack orders. I'm trying to give them maybe like shift click orders. I think I was giving these dwarves. But the problem is she was continually moving and getting re-engaged with these dwarf warriors, and then all these slayers are going to pump into her. And I can't get her out of there. She is going to die there, surrounded by slayers. I could not move her through the damn dwarf warriors with great weapons, which really sucks. So I'm still trying to get her through, but she's not going to make it. So I'm going to be over here trying to do some rear charges on the peak gate guard here with our questing knights, and we're going to get more knights over here. And we're going to try to do cycle charges to cycle bloops all day, every day on these peak gate guard, because you don't want to stay in combat for that long. Looks like I haven't actually given my peasants an actual attack order yet. But I'm too concerned with back here. So yeah, we're doing cycle charge in the PK guard, doing a lot of good damage. Meanwhile, my other knights were down here rerouting. I believe Thunderers that came back from routing. Here, my Fey Enchantress is going to die because I could not get her out of that situation, which sucked. Going to get some foot squires back in here. Now my peasant mobs are finally going around the lines, and we're going to maybe do rear charges. I can't remember. But yeah, that really sucks. So now this massive group of dwarves are going to come down here, trying to follow a peasant mob. Then they're going to crash into the side of the vampire count, who's holding off really well. Like, I mean, there are blobbed vampire counts around a Mortis engine, and they could do easy healing on their entire army. So not really much of a surprise that they are also doing pretty okay. Meanwhile, back here, we are trying to reroute some dwarf warriors with great weapons. We're trying to kill these rangers. Again, try to do cycle charge to the PK guard, but here we are going to have to disengage, I believe. We're going to run away from the Rune Lord. We're trying to run away from these Dragonback Slayers. And here you can see the other part of that dwarf force is again crashing into the side of my vampire count ally. These quest knights are going to come over here. Then I think I actually moved them back over here, because I think this ranger eventually moves over here, and I wanted to try and get to it. Bringing more units back from routing. Still trying to rout these or shatter the dwarf warriors with great weapons. You can see that the Rune Lord is casting its devastating Master Rune of Wrath and Ruin on my units. It's a really powerful spell or ability that the Rune Lord has. And again, the vampire counts are just in a very slow fight against the dwarf warriors, but they are eventually breaking the dwarf warriors inch by inch, because they have this Mortis engine that they're not really touching that much. So we're going to do a quick rear charge here. I was really hesitant on doing this because they're still kind of in the forest, and we don't have much advantage even with the rear charge in the forest, but I still wanted to try and get one rear charge to try and help break this clump of dwarf warriors. And then we're going to pull out again because the Slayers are coming down the hill, PK guard are coming down the hill, and the Rune Lord are coming down the hill. So I'm just trying to kind of kite these Slayers around, and here you can see that the Rangers have got a good position over here. And I believe, yeah, here we go. So I'm moving these quest knights around, and I believe I come in and try and take out these two Rangers from the back, because I can't really go in from this direction with my knights, because right now the Dragonback Slayers are like right on top of us. And a lot of my forces are taking a lot of damage, but the vampire count's still looking relatively okay. So bringing whatever unit I can back into the fight, peasant mobs and foot squires. And you can see we're going to try and maneuver these units, and I believe we should be hitting these rangers. Also, the peasant mob is closing in over here with another flanking action. This questing knight, no, Knight Errant was routing those dwarf warriors with great weapons. And still getting more knights. So at this point, I believe the Dragonback Slayers either got caught or just hard engaged against the Skeletal Spearmen, so I don't have to worry about them anymore. So now we're going to put these guys over here and try and mop up the remaining dwarf forces over there. This clump of dwarves, I was targeting with my Blessed Food Trebuchet and knocked them out pretty hardcore, and then I switched over here against these Longbeards that were still alive. And yeah, the Blessed Food Trebuchet, nothing's been threatening them, so they've just been free firing, and it feels good. Feels good. So here we go, finishing up the warriors that were in this area. These quest knights took out those 2 rangers. They were dealing with a long bearded great weapon, so we got reinforcements with what knights we have remaining. Peasant mob just engaging against units that are routing, and we are getting a mass rout among the dwarven forces here. The vampire accounts are pretty good at just surviving through a long battle, especially when backed up by a mortis engine as well in the battle lines, and they are going to eventually win this fight against those dwarf warriors. And my knights were taking out their back line and doing pretty good damage in the back. It just really sucks that my Fey Enchantress died. Man, I tried to move her away so many times. If I just moved her up, because you know when I'm playing from this height, I couldn't actually tell that if I just moved her up, she would have gotten out of the dwarf warriors. But I was trying to move her to the side, and she couldn't force her way through, and that sucked. God, that sucked. But this is going to be a victory, even without the aid of the Fey Enchantress. We have a mass shattering. Only thing left is going to be Ungrim Iron Fist, and I believe the Rune Lord just collapsed. Yeah. And then the Dragonback Slayers just collapsed. So that's going to be a GG. I believe one of these dwarf players after the battle just said that was some bullshit. I'm assuming, actually I don't even know what they mean by bullshit. Maybe they, you know, all the peasants, maybe they call bullshit on the 8 peasants. I mean, that is spammy, but they're peasants. Like, I don't know. But they also put a law at the end, so maybe they weren't super upset. They were just like, what the hell just happened? Just die, Ungrim. There we go. So in terms of kills, you can see Peasants definitely MVPs in this one. My Foot Squires, though, it really sucked because the vampire accounts really weren't in the lines with me when I charged. They kind of held back long enough for my Foot Squires to kind of just get focused down. And yeah, that just sucked. It sucked. But for the Knights, though, the Knights all have a pretty good amount of kills. The Blessed Future Trebuchet had a good amount of kills. The Fey Enchantress, unfortunately, perished. But, yeah, the Knights did their job really well. We crushed the Thunderers, the Organ Guns, the Rangers, multiple Dwarf Warriors, Longbeards, the Peak Gate Guard. So we crushed a lot of targets, did I think, a pretty good job. And then King Enrique just held the middle, and their Grave Guard and Mortis Engine just tanked it and survived. Also, they apparently had a Necromancer that I missed. But there we go, Necromancer. Heinrich Himmler was 0 kills. That sucks. I wonder if that player was keeping them safe and not actually engaged in battle, which is the opposite of what you should do with Heinrich Himmler. Obviously, you throw a squishy caster into the melee. I mean, come on. It's Heinrich Himmler. Let's see, for Karl Franz playing the Dwarves, a lot of kills for Karl Franz here. And then I think Snorklo got a lot of kills too. Like, because I took heavy damage, and the Vampire count also took a decent amount of damage. But yeah, good job to our enemies. It was just unfortunate for them that they left their organ guns on top of the hill lightly defended. Like, they just kind of immediately rushed down into that forested area to hold the vampire counts and my Foot Squires, but there really wasn't much up there to protect against all my cav that I was circling around. So we were able to crush these organ guns and all those thunderers just almost instantaneously. And yeah, that was bad. Man, look at Ungrim, 174 kills. God. He never does that good when I play as him. F you, Ungrim. I hate you so much. I hope you enjoyed the battle, though, everybody, and let's go watch a cinematic view. This is a lot of infantry. It spanned like half the deployment zone. Get up there, Foot Squires.
To war! We'll be! Edwards! Run, man! Run, man! For the lady! Here's an honor!
Yeah, you can see like the vampire count stops right behind all my Foot Squires. I need you in here, help me! Oh, my poor Foot Squires.
Come at him! Understood! Attack! Smite them! At once! Run him through! Immediately! Close haste! For the lady! On! Swiftly!
And goes with the Thunderers running away.
I own now my vessel! Glory calls! Hastily! At once! For the king!
Apace! Ever hurry!
Bound by honor!
Awaken my vengeful
Break first! Serve and obey! Break it! Immediately! With haste! Help us! Attack! For honor!
That's so many Slayers.
Ground! With haste!
At once!
At once! Swiftly! The enchantress grants us strength! Withdraw! God, swiftly!
Power of light! For our lady!
Take the ground! Hastily! Post haste! At speed! Doing our duty!
Quickly! Quickly!
Yes, my lord!
Oh, there's Heinrich.
Take it! God help us! Withdraw! Withdraw!
I think at this point, those dwarves should be killing. Yeah, they killed my main.
God help us!
Such a sad, sad day.
It shall be done! At speed!
There we are, cycle charging the peak gate guard.
At once! Fly away! Quickly, lads! Hastily! Remember your vows! Tongues out! Pull back! Glory away! Hastily!
Then we run.
Immediately!
Run.
And then down! Quick march! Big flood! Moving apace! Swiftly, the lady will take the ground!
And I was like, F it, just charge the forest. I want to see how many we get with the Blessed Fear Trip. I know I was shooting it into here. Okay. Okay, a little friendly fire. Never hurt anybody, especially when they're already undead.
The lion squeals with haste.
Oh, I guess I already switched targets to the longbirds over here. I think now we're into the Rangers.
We obey! Immediately!
Ooh.
Swiftly! Protect! And the stews! At speed! With haste!
No way, he's still alive, bro. Oh my god, you're still alive? You missed! You didn't kill him! You guys suck.
We obey! Attack! Rally away! At once!
Yeah, at that point, then we get the shatter. So these guys are heading off to finish the Dragonback Slayers.
The land is benighted! Quickly, lads! Clearance! Quickly! Bretonians, attack!
And there they go.
Dragon!
And then all that's left is Hunger Iron Fist, who takes forever to kill. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the battle, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.